So we are live. Just it's setting up the connection, so this is probably the little delay time before stream. But happy 2021, everyone. We are here. It is the first Saturday Showtime of 2021. 2020 is over, but we continue exploring the new world of digital performance as the COVID-19 pandemic continues around the world, though there is light at the end of the tunnel with vaccines and more help. So we are live on our streaming services. It's such a pleasure to be here with all of you. Thank you for joining us today. This is always a treat to come on these social medias once a month and try to share some new workers, things that we haven't shown in a while. This year, this week, this month, this day, we're exploring ways we can think about transformation in the new year and new time. So I forget who's introducing the first piece. Is it Hillary or Neil? Who of you is doing
I'll
it?
talk about it.
Great.
Sure, why not? So we're going to show a video of one of the very first pieces that was written for us. So this was a commission from the Boston Composers Coalition back in 2010, 2010, whatever you want to say, over 10 years ago. And Ramon Castillo was one of those composers charged with the task of writing new music for flute, bass trombone, percussion, without much of a reference point, because this was a new kind of instrumentation, but also with the understanding that we might do some theatrical or choreographic stuff. And Ramon in particular was on board for our shenanigans, and those longtime viewers of ours may be familiar with the piece he wrote for us called Onomatopoeia. This is the first piece that he wrote, a piece called Baroque Monstrosity, and it's in several movements, one of which is entitled Sack. There are many ideas for what sack might mean. What is it? We don't know. We didn't know. Ramon didn't have a definitive answer, and didn't really care that there was a definitive answer. But one of the reasons we might call this sack is in celebration of the Shakespearean era fondness for alcohol. So here is part of Baroque Monstrosity by Ramon Castillo, a weird little ditty called Sack.
And that was Sack from Baroque Monstrosity by Ramon Castillo. Up next, we've got a solo from Hillary, our very own Miss Aviana. This is one of the first hybrid arts solo pieces she ever created for herself. And back in October, she was invited to be part of the Oklahoma Flute Society's Flute Fair, an event that was postponed due to COVID until the fall. And it was a cool opportunity to revisit some repertoire that she's been doing for years on stage and figure out how it can find new life in the virtual format. This piece is called Masks. It's by the composer Oliver Nissen. And it explores this conflict between two different characters in music and also some staging notes that are provided by the composer. Hillary, of course, being a hybrid artist, has taken it a step further with a bit more choreography and some other tricks and skills up her sleeve. But it is our pleasure to share Hillary's version of Masks by Oliver Nissen.
thank you to my lovely husband behind the camera, Donovan. Hey. Sending it back to you, Greg.
And we're back with me. That was Masked by Oliver Innocent. So pleased to be able to present that work again as part of the Fourth Wall. It's been a really cool journey exploring that piece with Hillary. Up next for me is something, so I ran out of time this month. December was a busy month for the Fourth Wall. We are in the process of transitioning to become a nonprofit corporation, and we just had our first board meeting last week. So I was really busy getting ready for that, working with our guests who are coming up at the end of the show, taking care of things at the end of the year, and just being generally busy around the holidays. So I didn't get to the piece I intended to program, which I'll get to next month. It's a wonderful transcription of a kora piece by the great kora master Sekou Keita. And it got me thinking about what is classical music. We've been having this conversation about the white racial frame in classical music in the broader classical music community, and how it's so stuck in this realm of powdered wigs and white Western European men as the folks running it and in charge of it. And thinking about this kora music and traditional African music and classical music from a different part of the world had me thinking, okay, well, that's also sort of in line with how I came up. I grew up playing jazz. That was my classical music. That was the structure and the rigor and the tradition that I was steeped in as a kid that formed my musical foundation. And so I'm this year kind of moving into 2020, trying to pull ourselves out of classical music's firmly entrenched white racial frame, looking at different ways we can think about what is classical music, what is the rigor and structure and rules and codes and parameters and history behind so many other types of music that are as great. So for me, jazz felt like a natural starting point. And one of my favorite jazz composers is Thelonious Monk. And thinking about New Year's, and a song that comes into my head every few weeks, Round Midnight is a classic ballad by Monk that taps into a lot of what I love about Bach and the way that that classical white composer from the 17th century explored harmonies and how they can relate to each other in melodic transformation. I feel a lot of that in Thelonious Monk's music, especially Round Midnight, the way that we have these arpeggios and the shapes of the melody and how it forms and moves, and how we'll get some surprise harmonic shifts and movements through the circle of fourths. So I'm going to tap back into my roots, play a little bit of jazz for you, following some of its classical parameters of there's going to be a tune, there's some chordal structure, and then I, as the performer, am invited to contribute my own compositional voice through improvisation. So I'm a little rusty dusting off some of these jazz vibes chops, but I hope you enjoy a little bit of Round Midnight by Thelonious Monk.
That was lovely, Greg. So one of my favorite parts of the Saturday Showtime series that we're doing is that we get to work with some of our friends, new friends, old friends, folks that we have met along our travels. And the last couple of years, we've been showcasing at APAP, the Association of Performing Arts Professionals, with a fabulous dance company called General Mischief Dance Theater. And General Mischief is primarily based in New York City, but I love their mission statement, so I'm just going to read it because it brings me a lot of joy. General Mischief Dance Theater is dedicated to reinforcing the power that joy and laughter have in communicating ideas. We create dance adventures that are playful, accessible, and often interactive. Our goal is to combine high-level storytelling with high-quality movement to remind audiences that dance is as much visceral as it is visual. And that resonates so much with us in the fourth wall. And so before we share a collaboration that we did with General Mischief, we want to highlight them all on their own with a video. And this video is, where is it? They call it General Mischief's Field Trip at Home. And this one is, they wanted to play with the idea of transforming a dance that they once performed on stage to an at-home adventure. So with music by the fabulous 41st Street Ensemble, I hope you enjoy General Mischief's Field Trip at Home.
Woohoo! And we are so delighted, not just to introduce you to the work of General Mischief Dance Theater, but to also introduce you to Emily Vartanian, who is, in many ways, the mastermind behind the mischief. Emily, welcome to Saturday Showtime.
Thank you so much for having me, Neil. This is such a treat. I'm usually in the audience seats.
Yeah, but here you are. You've got front row. So we met a few years ago at a booking conference, not the sort of place where we get to have a lot of time to actually meet each other, but we get to be acquainted with each other's work.
Right.
And I feel like there was an instant sort of click of like, hey, we see what you're doing. Oh yeah, you see what we're doing. And like happens in those situations a lot of time, we're like, hey, we should do a thing together sometime
We should
because
do a thing.
we see you and such. But I mean, that has definitely become one of the unexpected joys of this pandemic time. One of the silver linings is that we do have the ability to sort of follow up on those little connections that we made years ago and never really thought, they're based in New York, we're in Massachusetts. Are we ever going to really get to work together?
Yeah.
Well, we shall soon see that, yes, indeed, we can collaborate. But I wonder if you can just reflect for us a little bit about this last year. Like, how has your work working with a dance company changed? And, what's sort of the initial shock of going indoors? And then maybe what are the little things you discovered along the way?
Definitely. Well, it's watching groups like the Fourth Wall. We're fan girls, adults, people, just for the reference of everybody watching. Um, make adaptations to online. We've all learned tremendously from each other. There, we've had text threads and saying, "So how are you pulling this? Like, do you have advice? Oh, we figured this thing out. That's fantastic." So that sort of support that sort of existed already, taking on a whole nother level has been wonderful. With the work, it's been really terrific because I'm very lucky in that I get to work with the ensemble. We call ourselves the Mischiefs. So the Mischiefs always have input into the work that's being made. There's always something of them in all of the pieces because, in addition to performing live, it's never the same twice. Their ideas constantly get incorporated into what happens. But the piece you just saw was performed live last September. The 41st Street Ensemble was there. And so that's one dynamic when it's an ensemble piece and everybody's moving together in their own way. I had the privilege of turning them loose and saying, here's the sequence we're doing, go play in your house or, apartment, deck, wherever the heck you want to do. JP's hiding behind the umbrella. Wendy's like, I am going to kick the pillows. Excuse me, please. In all of those delightful discoveries have been incredible because you can't, you don't get to bring everyone's furniture to the theater. So that has been a great joy because all of them get to just go wild on a completely different level. And knowing that if it works, it ends up in the edit. I will tell you, there's a whole second video of things that are on the cutting room floor. And in addition, little things, little moments of joy that we need to find right now. Donna Viscuso, who's the composer of that piece and very graciously let us use it, also the flautist, has an affection for dogs and cats. And so it was instantly known that all pets were invited to be included as much as possible because Donna would be delighted. So, Saki's reaching over to her kitty Jane, and then Louis makes a cameo at the end. Another thing that can never happen in a theater, and that has been part of our Zoom lives. So all of that has brought us tremendous joy. And we've become, though physically further, closer together because we've gotten each other through this.
Yeah, and how far flung are your dancers?
Peter's in Atlanta. JP is currently in Northern California. And then we've got a whole lot of different areas of New York City, one in New Jersey. And so the furthest is Mia, who is in Dublin. Though that's actually been fantastic because she was in Dublin before, but now it's like, no big deal, we're on Zoom anyway. It's kind of delightful.
Yeah, down the block is no closer than across the Atlantic.
Exactly. And we
Not
love
in the
it.
apartment together, you may as well be anywhere else.
It's true. We only have to factor in the time difference.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely found that there are things that we can do now that we have thought about in the past, but have never actually attempted. And now we're doing things in this online realm in ways that, maybe this is the mode, maybe this is the medium for this piece. So this collaboration that we're about to unveil, this is music that I've been playing for years. and audiences of the fourth wall have heard us perform other parts of this piece, but this is the first time that part one of this piece, Moonrise with Memories, is being unveiled to the world by the fourth wall. So, I mean, one of the things about it is that it's a piece for flexible ensemble. Ideally, quote unquote, it's for 6 accompanying instruments to accompany the bass trombone. So I've got the bass trombone part covered, but obviously it's more fun with more people. And Greg and Hillary, when we perform live, like, yeah, they can do a thing, but how much more fun if they can do all the things? And then how much more fun if we can involve all the dancers from all around the world helping us out and finding a way to collaborate. And uh, can you tell the audience just a little snippet of like the process for preparing the dancers for the thing we're about to see them do?
Absolutely. Well, I'll just tell you, there's nothing more wonderful than getting a text from the fourth wall saying, "Do you want to do a thing?" Yes, please. And it's, you know, because Hillary and Greg are amazing, they just multiplied themselves. So we talked about the different sections this piece would have, and I ended up making a slow motion instruction recording, which I haven't done before, but was really fun. And all of the mischiefs are really good sports. So they're like, great, I'm just gonna let Emily's voice tell me what's happening when, and you'll understand why when you see it. No spoilers. And then the joyful process of editing, and Greg did this incredible work on bringing things that were very tricky to unify in a really beautifully unified way.
Yeah. So new territory for us, using some of the old tools and discovering new ways to use the tools that we've had before, but then also finding new methods, new ways of using tools that are familiar, but to rework them and make them work for a unique moment, a unique collaboration in a unique way. So maybe it's time to unveil this amazing thing that Greg has been working feverishly the last week to do all the editing. So this is an impressive piece of work in the editing room, from many pieces pulled together in many different ways. So yeah, this is part one of Moonrise with Memories by Frederick Jevsky for bass trombone and 1 to 6 accompanying instruments. We're going to take it away.
Yay!
We did it.
Yay, Mischiefs.
Yay, Greg!
Go
You should
team.
get
Aw, thanks.
choreographer credit on that. Fantastic.
It's been fun. It's I think one of the cool things about COVID times for all of us in the arts is that we're learning so many new skills. And just a thing for people out that aren't in the arts. Uh, None of us is getting paid for this. We're just like building these back pocket skills because we want to create work. We want to do things together. We want to make our livelihoods, our passions, the things that drive us reality. Um, and it's a cool opportunity from the recording that we've all been doing as the fourth wall. We recorded all that separately and have been learning about mastering and mixing and how to do stuff at home, to video editing, to collaboration, which was such a blast for this Mischief collaboration. If you want to see more of us, we mentioned that we met at APAP. The fourth wall will be doing a few showcases at APAP next weekend. We're going to be doing we're presenting our show Falling from the Toy Box as part of the Orlando Fringe's Winter Mini Fest as a showcase. You can find that through the APAP website. We'll also be doing a showcase of our own, Fruit Flies Like a Banana. If you want to get on that list, you can message us, you can send us an email, put a comment in either of these live streams, reach out to us in any way that you find us. And then we'll also be sharing a showcase with our friends from the Construction Company, this collective of dance and dance theater companies and music groups that have been our friends at APAP for the last many years. So it's just such a treat to get to find space for these connections that we've had for a while. And yeah, we're so thrilled to do it. So that's what we've got this week. We'll also be part of IPE, which is the International Performing Arts for Youth Conference in 3 weeks. So you can keep your eyes open for that. That's actually the rest of my day in the editing room, finalizing a re-edit of a full Zoom Fruit Flies, since we have to give them a video rather than doing a live stream show. So just keep in touch with us, keep in touch with General Mischief, look up their work. They're such treats of humans. We really love their work, and it was so fun making this piece. So Emily, thank you so much. Anything you want to plug? What do y'all have coming up next?
Thank you. It was such a joy. We are working on a collaboration with 41st Street, which probably will be done in spring because it involves being outdoors. But yeah, we're making more and more videos like the one you saw at home. So those are going out on all of our feeds for everyone to watch and enjoy.
Fabulous.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you, Emily. Thank you to General Mischief Dance. And thanks to all of you on the internet for watching these streams and keeping in touch with us. Of course, with the fourth wall, you can follow us on all the social media. You can support our work through Patreon. Join us at these conferences coming up. Also, if you want to feel fancy, you can book us at your school. We'll be doing a masterclass at Juilliard in a couple weeks. So we're thrilled to announce that. I'm just treating this as like a fourth wall news thing now. So I'm going to sign off and end the stream. Thanks, everyone. Have a happy new year. Happy 2021. We'll see you all soon.